day, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is a beautiful late summer morning in Albuquerque, and we are over at Cameradactyl Camera's Secret World headquarters with my friend Ethan Moses. And you'll never guess, on the 20th anniversary of our involvement in the Afghan war, what did we make, Ethan?
We built a Cuban Polaroid.
He was supposed to say Afghan Box Camera, but we can't say that anymore. We're done with that. So it's a Cuban Polaroid. It is a lab cam, right?
Yes.
That's another way of putting it, right?
I think so.
And most of the Afghan box camera, Cuban Polaroid, lab cam built in the world are homemade of some sort, or cottage industry made, and ours is no different. And we're gonna just do a little...
Ours might be the first one with a laser.
Yes, ours is laser cut, and we're gonna have Ethan just describe how it works.
All right, so I think it's important to say first that this is a V1 prototype from something we did 2 weeks ago, and then I've been busy. Oh, here comes a plane.
Yes.
You pick that up in the lab?
It might.
Okay. So, yeah, there's a bunch of things that will get changed with the camera we're going to build today, which should be the first production prototype, if we're lucky, of a flat pack kit for a Afghan box camera. We did a couple of things different with it. This one is working, but there's, you know, things like these rods sticking at the back, because when I built it I was too impatient to wait for the new rods to come from Amazon and AliExpress. So eventually I'll have, you know, rods that fit in here and a door that is the shape of this pencil mark, and locks that don't have tape over them. But anyway, this one is a functional version of it, and we'll make a nicer version later today. But since I have it going, basically it's got a lens on the front. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And then this focusing screen with a film gate in it. Oops, let's pull it back here. That opens up and you can see the back of the lens in there. And then this focusing screen rotates, so you can shoot a horizontal or a vertical. I think there's a button on the new one we got to try out, not that it needs it. But so basically you just open your lens, and it's probably too bright with everything open to see it focus, but
There's the brick wall.
we'll take a look through the actual peephole later. But that's how you focus, and when you find your focus, you can set a clip, and then push the thing back. Take a piece of paper out from the paper safe, which I'm not going to show you this right now, but
There actually is paper in it.
yeah, there is. This is a black acrylic box that's light tight, and so with one hand you pull out a piece of paper, put it in here, pull back to your focusing mark, take your picture, push it back, take the paper out, and then there's slots for 5 trays. I'm just using them, you know, 2 trays right now. This is the tank. This has fixer in it and some crud.
Very cool.
I just have a blank tank here and developer here. I've been shooting
very neat.
Harman.
Then you can pull out each tank individually to dump them and replace them.
Yep. And then actually this tray comes out as well, so you could set it up in a different way. And when you're carrying it, I would take the lens out, put a blank board in that lock, take this thing out, and you can put all your chemistry and equipment inside. And I think the new one that we make today, we're going to put some D-rings on. Not exactly sure where, maybe to carry it like a camera bag, or maybe to carry it more like a backpack, but it'll have some straps. And anyway, when you're using it, you close this guy. All right, and then this locks down, and there would be another lock here. This is working, but you know, the final version, we'll get those, and maybe some
You have a little
nicer
keep
things.
sight door.
Yeah, so I open this door, and then I can focus like that.
Yeah.
If you stick the GoPro in there, it's sort of shielding enough light that you might be able to see.
I think you can see it. Definitely. Yes, there it is. There's the wall.
So, you know, I look through there when I'm focusing, and then just take the picture like this. And I modeled a 3D printed knob, and there's actually a lock on this, which I think would normally just be open.
Right.
And things like, you know, what else is going to change? This handle here will eventually have a magnet, so it just magnets up, and I'm not relying on sticky tape. But this one was just a sort of quick and dirty thing.
Homemade arm sleeve, and instead of using obviously we didn't sew it together, but it looks like it holds together good with gaffer's tape, right?
Right, yeah, so I figured out that I could sew these on a sewing machine, but I am not a good sewer, so I just use the pattern with gaffer's tape here where I would sew a seam, and people can at home.
It looks like with the good gaffer's tape, it probably holds pretty well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I don't know that it's a 20-year solution, but you can always unmount this flange and then replace the sleeve.
Body is all laser cut plywood.
Yeah.
And
there's a little bit of hardware, but for the most part, almost everything is laser cut plywood.
yeah.
And one of the things that I really like is this thing is on 3D printer bearings. You'll see in some of the
So it's real smooth.
Yeah, real light and smooth. And so if you pull it back, there's this clip here, right?
Right.
You put the clip a little forward. As you're focusing, you can pull it back and push the clip. Pull.
Oh yeah. Yes, 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 yes. I see.
Right.
Yeah, let's look at the front lens board.
Oh yeah, sure.
This has a classic slide lock system
Yes.
for mounting a lens board.
I used the wrong hardware here,
Yeah.
and it's kind of binding on these screws.
Yeah,
However,
it's just the same idea.
the next one I will bother to get real thing.
Right, there's your focusing screen on the other side. And very cool. Yeah.
And actually, the next one has the lens board a little bit down. You can see that I made up for 17mm shift of this guy because this is our second version, and it just necessarily had to be down a little bit from where the first focusing screen
So
is.
this is a 4x5" format
Correct.
camera. Yes.
Correct. Potentially, right, the rails come out in the field without any tools, and so I think you could pull the rails out and then pull the whole focusing gantry. I'll show you this. You can do it here certainly because the rails are just held in with these stupid rubber bands. You can take off
there it is.
this module,
Yeah.
which is the focusing screen, right? And so I have a rotating back here, so you can shoot, horizontal or vertical. I think you could put a 5x7 in here almost without having to change the height of the lens or get any
And then just
unwanted
make it
shift.
7" wide, 5 deep on the
Yeah,
tank.
and that's another thing is you could.
Different shelf.
Yeah.
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 Very cool.
All right, so I'm going to stick my arm in this sleeve and pop this thing out so I can see and focus. Later on, I will close this door to take the picture, but you've got to go over there now so I can actually do this. So from this side, I open the lens, and then I can focus. Joe, would you take 2 steps forward? Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop.
Take my hat off.
You can leave your hat on.
Okay.
So I've got you in focus, and I've got the clamp there. So the first thing I do is I close that door. I open this guy up. I set it to F5. I've already set the shutter speed. Now I go into the paper safe. I open that up. I'm closing the paper safe again. Now here's one sheet of paper. I've pushed the focusing screen forward already. I open the door, find the emulsion side of the paper, face it forward towards the lens, line the paper up with the acrylic focusing screen, and close the door. Get it nice and tight. I'm using the tape, but eventually that will have a magnetic closure on that hinge. Then I pull this guy back gently until I hit the focus stop. Then I look at Joe getting ready to take the picture. Now I've taken the picture. So I slide the screen forward. I open the door, I take the paper out, close the door again so it's not in my way, and now I can find, running my fingers back along the tray, the first tank, which I think if I revise the tanks, they will have some, not braille, but like signal notches so I can count which, bump one is developer, 2 bumps is stop at, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Today I'm just using developer and fixer. So right now I'm just using the tip of my finger to agitate the Ilford Harman direct positive in Dectol. It's 1:1. This is a week old now. I've just left it in these tanks. It's fine.
And you mix that up from
Months
powder,
ago.
one batch at a time from powder?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm drying this, just shaking it in its bucket. I'm finding insert. All right, so this has already been in the fixer, and I think it's probably fine. However, I'm going to just demonstrate how I would pull my arm out, which is to pull my fist out, close,
guillotine it,
this guy, and then roll this up.
Okay.
But I think it is already ready for the light, so.
Yep. All right.
There we go.
Oh yeah. Wow. That is Joe. That's actually pretty decent.
Pretty good.
That's the typical high contrast Harman look, but it's good.
Yeah, I think I've started to use it with some effect.
Yes. Wow. Well, your processing is very clean. I don't see like fingerprints and dribbles.
There's a little of the staining because I'm using 2-week-old developer that was a month old after I pulled it out of the bottle. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'll just give it a
It works. Okay, so a couple little test shots. This is one that Ethan did of me. Otherwise, I'd have a really long arm. And this is one that I did of Ethan. Our developer is getting a little old, so there's a little staining here. But this camera is really easy to focus. I mean, there's a lot of good detail in the face, the Harman paper. And shooting out here in shaded daylight is really a good way to go if you don't have studio lights. But a nice outdoor portrait. This was f5 at about
3/4 of a second.
3/4 of a second, yeah. So
we started 2 weeks ago on this idea for an Afghan box camera. And the first thing we imagined was much like your Afghan box camera, but with some vertical slot tanks, a door, a side arm sleeve, and then some sort of focusing system and a lens holding system. We were also thinking about holders for the paper to go into different trays or buckets to go out of the bottom. We were thinking about different ways to use either linear rails or aluminum extrusions to slide the focusing screen forward and back. That's in blue over here. And then we just had like a blocked out paper safe. And so this was the very early things. And then we were thinking about, a camera and a toolbox that sort of mated and cleated together, and then you could carry it around like that. Here was your idea to have a large opening arm sleeve, which in the end we couldn't do in this position, but that was an arm sleeve picture. This was sort of an idea of tanks within a tank, and then the idea that we ultimately went with, which is tanks in slots. This was just some dimensions of the camera. This was our first film gate, which we changed later on. It had a way to mount an image, horizontal or vertical, without rotating it. These are some conceptual drawings of them, and then we were going to clamp that in this sort of 3D printed block that then would mate to a bearing rider, much like you would find on a 3D printer bed. All of this eventually got scrapped for something else, but this is similar to, basically from this system the only things we're using are like these rails and the bearings that go on the rails. So then this is kind of the ultimate drawing before we started the CAD process, which shows your lens is here. This is your sliding film gate with a door that we had opening the wrong way for a while. We had a paper safe and these tray racks. We had a arm sleeve that went all the way down to the bottom, but I realized in CAD that around here is where this tray rack goes, so there was no use in having a larger arm sleeve there. Over here I have the original drawing in a pocket notebook of this was a rotating back, and then in this version there's a lock on that back for horizontal or vertical. And then I just have this bunch of engineering changes that I did yesterday to the model and some notes about the model, and then hardware list and print groups. Anyway, this was about the first version we're looking at, although there's some places where I hit the thing with a drill or used tape to fix in the version outside, but this is pretty similar. You'll notice that these rods here, which I gave a wood grain texture to, although they're metal, are just sitting in these pockets. I had a couple different ways to hold them. In the new version, we'll see that these are fully captured, so they can't go anywhere. And then, we've got this The rail rider is about the same. This film gate is completely different on the new one. And here I hadn't cut yet any of the flanges. This is the current version. It has an optional second arm sleeve, which I will get rid of in the views, but you know, so you can see it's very similar to what we did before, except there's a lock on this door and a space for this handle. These hinges are, you know, filleted on the corners, so they're nice and smooth. The tolerances of the door has changed. The tolerances of the this rack here for the tanks have changed. And then kind of maybe the most interesting is film gate, which is right here. So we've been using tape to hold this film gate up, but instead it now has a embedded magnet on this level and a little tab, so this thing will just magnet shut. And then also, like the one we were looking at, the last prototype version has the same film gate as the new one, more or less, with a rotating and sliding back. Anyway, we can also see here, turn some things off, this guy is embedded in a hole in this part, and it's embedded back here, and the only way to take them out is actually when you have this big this big light door open here. Yeah, there. Then you can, so when you open that door, you can see these holes, and you should be able to pull these out if you ever want to change this film gate for something like a 5x7 or a smaller film gate, or you know, it leaves this whole unit as like a separate module that could be changed out for shooting different things.
What parts are cut?
Well, some of the parts are cut. This first giant sheet of parts are cut.
Well, we're dry fitting the newly printed camera kit with the improvements. Just dry fitting with tape.
So now here's one of the upgrades. Is these rods are captured at this end.
So they won't pop up.
And captured up here.
Nice.
And then when I close the door, you cannot remove the rods.
Yes, yes,
And when I open the door, you can push them out.
To remove the film gate.
Exactly.
Nice.
All right, so I guess the first thing I'm going to put together is this outer frame. So I have two identical pieces like this, and I have on each side two large hold sliding plates. Should be a nice snug fit. Okay, and then on the other side we have again four. There we go. Let's just switch this for a second and use the clean one on the end. So one rod, and those will just align the
Align the screw
outer
holes.
plates. All right, and put it down like this. Now again, we should be using M3 by 50 or 55. It'll come with the right ones. I'm going to use this English unknown. Maybe this is 8/32 or something. Anyway. Okay, that's one. You want to keep these guys in here. Over here. Alright, and this is the first time I've done this, and I did not put it together backwards the other time. Anyway, it slides forward and back. Down here we'll put some trays in, and then I think I can do a demo of what's going on.
Yep. Okay, so we just recently printed the parts for the new design, the updated design, and we just dry fit all the parts together, just fit together with screws and some masking tape just to show how it works.
We've got a dummy sheet of paper in this light box. This is already exposed, but it's a piece of 4x5 Harman. We're going to leave it in there for the demo. Okay, so normally you have this door here in the back. This door will open on real hardware instead of tape, but it opens and has an arm sleeve that's mounted to a flange here, and you can stick your hand in. It also has this peep door, and then both of them also are missing these sets of locks that slide up and down and lock the doors here and here. Anyway, door on a door. So the first thing you do is you stick your arm in the arm sleeve and you can open the lens so that you can focus and open the aperture all the way. Then what you do is open this guy, unlock it and open, and then I'm going to find a focusing position where my subject is in focus. Right? Then what I want to do is I'll slide one of these clips to that spot. So I find where my subject is in focus, and then I tell them, please don't move for a little while. The next thing I do immediately is push film gate to the front, close the lens. So, close the lens so there's no light in there. Then with this focusing screen up, with one hand, yes, I open the paper safe, which is magnetic, grab one sheet of paper, and then go open the film gate here, place the film, this shouldn't be wobbly, this should be a good fabric hinge here. Place the film together. Alright, so I'm taping that there, but eventually this will be a magnet on this version. You tape this guy closed, then you pull back gently to where it bumps the stop to here. Now you're ready to take your picture. So you can cock the lens, keep your hand out of the way, take your picture. Now from here you just push the film gate forward, undo the magnet, your sticky magnet, close this thing back up again, and then you can fit up to 5 tanks in here or more if you move the paper safe, and you can get different racks for this guy, but for now I'm just doing a developer and fixer with Harman, so you can stick it in here, wait for a little while, agitate with your fingers, maybe with a glove, maybe with another clip or something holding it, and then, you know, once that's done, shake it off, move it to here, do the same sort of agitation, and then when you are done, you can remove it, open the door,
do the magic of
yeah, and then remove your hand from the dark sleeve and remove your photo. I think I'll probably make a batch of these before or after my road trip, so look out for them at cameradactyl.com. There'll be flat pack kits with everything you need except for a pair of hands and some wood glue.
So the background to this Afghan box camera design is really based on some sketches that I had made in my photo sketch journals, based on my experience with having built an Afghan box camera that was more like the traditional kind with horizontal trays in the bottom of the camera, and I really saw the need for having vertical slot tanks so you minimize the amount of chemical sloshing around. There's less surface area of chemical exposed to the air and to get dust in and whatever. And I really thought at the time, a few years ago when I was designing this in my head, that it might be a more efficient way to do the Afghan box camera. And I'm fortunate to have Ethan around to help me design this. A couple weeks ago we brainstormed this, and you saw the sketches in the notebook, and of course his CAD skills and design skills and all that are really crucial to the success of the project. But I'm really excited to see how well this came together. Even the prototype he built right over there, the first prototype worked right out of after it was assembled, no bugs at all. And so I really think this is going to be an interesting product, and hopefully you guys will be able to buy one of these kits here in the near future. All right, well, this is Joe Van Cleve at Ethan Moses Cameradactyl Cameras with this new version of the Afghan box camera. Oh, the Albuquerque Box Camera. That's it, the Albuquerque Box Camera. Okay, guys, you take it easy and have a great day. Bye-bye.